Prost v Senna, Lauda versus Hunt, Hamilton versus Rosberg, Vettel versus Alonso, and now we have Hamilton versus Verstappen. 2021 will go down as one of the closest fought championships in history and one of the best championships in history. Let's take a look back at what has been an amazing season.
Got a great battle in their hands. Game on.
It is very much between these two magnificent racing drivers.
The two championship rivals going wheel to wheel.
We're just seeing a titanic battle this season.
Verstappen ist raus, heftiger Einflug.
Brilliant championship battle.
This has been an ending like no other.
Max Verstappen, for the first time ever, is champion of the world.
He said it wouldn't change his life. I think it might just have.
Yes! Yes! Oh my God!
For me, that was the best season we've had since 2012. We saw all sorts. We saw the reigning champion, the king, Lewis Hamilton, against the young protagonist and feisty Max Verstappen. They went together, they locked horns, they crashed a few times, but Max Verstappen came out on top to win his first championship in very controversial circumstances. But it wasn't just the front that intrigued us. The front too, we saw the likes of McLaren versus Ferrari battle it out for supremacy. We saw plenty of midfield tussling and lots of storylines further back. So in this video, we'll take a look at the three best drivers of this season, the biggest shocks of this season, the best individual performance, who and what needs to improve for 2022, and what we learned from the season, and the best race of the season. Forgot about that one. So let's just get straight into it, shall we? The three best drivers of 2021. Well, there's an obvious two, isn't there? Hamilton and Verstappen, but which one was better this year? Well, I think the stats prove who was better. Verstappen was the better driver this season. They both deserved the title, don't get me wrong, but Verstappen was the better driver and he won the title. 18 podiums, more laps led than all the other drivers combined. Incredible, most podiums ever in a season, like I said, 18, so he deserved the title just as much as Lewis, despite it being in controversial circumstances. So Verstappen has been my best driver of 2021, closely followed obviously by Lewis Hamilton. Now for third, there's a number of drivers in the running for this one, but I am going to go with Lando Norris. I think he was in contention for third in the Drivers' Championship for a very long time, up until the summer break, and then it kind of fell away when Bottas and Perez inevitably proved their worth in their much superior machine. Norris was this close to a win, but obviously Pierre Gasly had an amazing season. So he was in the running for third best driver of the year, doing a great job for AlphaTauri, propping up their midfield charge pretty much throughout the whole season. And also Esteban Ocon with that victory. I thought he had a great season, and of course Carlos Sainz, who beat teammate Charles Leclerc unexpectedly. The B driver of Ferrari beat the A driver of Ferrari. Now that was unexpected and could be an interesting storyline in the future. Best race of the season? Now this was arguably the toughest question of the lot in this video. In 2019, 2020 and other seasons gone by, we saw some pretty boring races. We only saw one or two, maybe three incredible races if we were lucky. But this season we got a handful. We had the likes of Jeddah, Abu Dhabi, Hungary, Brazil, Baku, the list goes on. All amazing races in their own right. And the top three races for me were Jeddah, Brazil and Hungary due to their unexpectedness. But the best race for me that trumps them all is Jeddah. The nature of Jeddah was always going to cause chaos. You know, there are always going to be thrills and spills and plenty of crashes, and that's what we saw. Red flags galore in the race, which shook up the order. Controversy reigned supreme once again, a theme of this season, and we saw Hamilton and Verstappen at the penultimate round of the season go head to head pretty much the whole time, and of course they came together.
Here we go, wheel to wheel.
That's crazy, man. Oh, they touched!
Thought that race summed up the championship very nicely. The nature of the two drivers, Hamilton cool, calm, calculated, playing the long game, and Verstappen feisty, banzai moves, very aggressive, but Hamilton came up on top and he did deserve to win that race. We saw plenty of shocks this season too. We had Aston Martin's disastrous campaign. The minor rule changes over the winter were going to hit them hard, but after a positive 2020 you would have thought that team wouldn't have fallen so far down the pecking order, which unfortunately they did. They had a disastrous campaign, finishing 7th, bottom of the midfield. To me that was a surprise. I thought it would be them and Alpine kind of the other way around, if you see what I mean. And of course Ocon's victory in Hungary, that was a major surprise. A great day for Alpine and a great day for Esteban Ocon, taking his debut win in fortuitous circumstances. Nevertheless, a great victory. Another shock that kind of goes under the radar is the fact that both Red Bull and Mercedes failed to get a 1-2 this season. McLaren were the only team to do so. Their first 1-2 since God knows when, 2012, 2011, I don't actually know, but that kind of ballpark. A long time, almost 10 years. Ricciardo taking the victory, not Lando Norris. And I said at the start of the season and in the summer break, I said McLaren would finally win a race this year, and they did, thanks to Ricciardo. That was a very uplifting victory for him in what has been a very difficult season for the Australian. It's McLaren are going to win a race. They come close on occasions, and there's no reason why it can't be Daniel Ricciardo either. It's not me. Ocon's win trumps them all. I thought the Frenchman really deserved that victory. I think he's a great driver. He was a Mercedes protege for a reason. So for me, he's the most underrated driver on the grid. And yeah, like I said, deserved that victory. Took his chances and he proved in Jeddah again that when there's chaos, he's always there to pick up the spoils and take home a great result. The best individual drive, there is no question around this. You can't doubt this. It's obvious, it's clear, it's on a pedestal. Hamilton's drive throughout the whole of the Brazilian Grand Prix weekend was the best drive of the season, one of the best drives we've ever seen in Formula 1 and one of the best drives of his career.
And he's going to try and make that lunge, and he does make that lunge against the odds, has come home to win the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. What a victory for Lewis Hamilton. He's not
bar none, that is the best drive of 2021. Getting pole on the Friday, back to last for the sprint race on Saturday, up to 5th in 24 laps. Incredible, only Lewis Hamilton can do that. Maybe Verstappen, doubt it. But Hamilton then went on to take the victory in Sunday's race from 10th on the grid. We have to take another 5-place grid penalty. So to take the victory under all those circumstances, well, bar none, like I said, the best individual performance of the season. It reignited the championship charge and saw him throw himself back into contention for the title when Verstappen looked to have it at the time. Other notable mentions though, Verstappen had some dominant drives too, the likes of Styria, Mexico and Monaco, all deserving victories, dominant drives. I think in Styria especially, Verstappen blew away the opposition and took a commanding lead in the championship that weekend as well. The biggest shock, Ocon's win in Hungary, deserves a mention for best individual performance under immense pressure from 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel the whole race. Held his own out front, having never really led a Grand Prix before. Held his own, won the race and kept his head under, like I said, immense pressure. And also Hamilton's stride in Portimao, which was the most dominant drive of the season from him, along with Qatar. But Portimao I think goes under the radar. You know, he started second or on pole and overtook Bottas and Verstappen. He fell back at the start to then win by 30 seconds. So yeah, that's an underrated drive from Lewis this season as well. Right then, who needs to improve for 2022? I'm pretty set on this decision. Daniel Ricciardo, you got to do better. Where were you this season since you left Red Bull in 2018? 2 mediocre seasons with Renault, couple bright moments but nothing special. Back at McLaren, we all thought you'd blow away Lando Norris, but you didn't, and Lando Norris blew you away, and you need to improve for 2022 because you pretty much cost McLaren third in the Constructors. To put it bluntly, Sergio Perez as well, much better than his predecessors, Alex Albon and Pierre Gasly did a much better job than them. However, in superior machinery, I think we can agree marginally the Red Bull is better than Mercedes. Sergio Perez made too many mistakes this season and languished way too far behind his teammates. Only finished 4th in the Constructors, in the drivers, and behind his opposite number, Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. And like I mentioned before, Aston Martin, they need to improve for next season. I'm sure they will, but it's no guarantee because they're a bit of a question mark at the moment. But with the management they're under with Lawrence Stroll, there's no doubt that in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, they will be a competitive team. They will win championships. It's just a case of when, not if. But next season they need to improve because 2021 was a disaster for them. And unfortunately, Haas, they'll want a better campaign next season. No development on this year's car, so I thought they'd done a pretty good job considering. However, they were plumb last for pretty much every race. So that's got to improve for next season. I'm sure it will. But let's remember they're a young team. There's kind of a bit of slack, but let's improve for next season. Come on. And finally, to wrap up the video, what did we learn from this season? Well, the old boys have still got it. Raikkonen, Alonso, Vettel and Hamilton, all proving that age is no number. The Overtake Award, top 3 were Vettel, Alonso and Raikkonen. The old boys taking home that award, top 3. I thought they did a good job there. And Hamilton at a ripe age of 36 in a championship fight and proving he's still at the top of his game. And the 2022 changes are needed, I'm afraid. They've come just in time. The minor changes to the front wing and other areas of the car in 2019 definitely helped. And then they've gone one step further in the winter prior to 2021 to aid that even further, which again helps slightly but not enough. The dirty air is still too much of an issue. Overtaking and following is still too much of an issue at certain tracks. So the 2022 changes to radically different cars should hopefully help that and aid closer racing, because finally that's what we want and that's what we need, and I'm sure it's what we'll get. A major positive that I'm so pleased we can take out of 2021 is that Formula 1 is finally growing amongst every demographic. We've seen incredible shifts in viewership in 2021. I did a video on this, I'll leave the link to that. Drive Survive's definitely helped. But having a massive title fight on our hands this year between Hamilton and Verstappen has definitely helped. The season finale in Abu Dhabi drew a global audience and hooked the world for the first time. I've never seen this as an F1 fan, but an F1 fan since 2007, and haven't seen this amount of fanfare over the sport. And it's so good to see it, and I'm very proud. And whether we're Verstappen fans or Hamilton fans, I think we all know that a Verstappen world champion is better for the sport in terms of viewership and exposure. And longevity, despite the circumstances that he took it in. And that concludes my season review of 2021. There'll be more bits of content regarding a review on my TikTok, like driver ratings, moments that define the championship, Verstappen's best moments, Hamilton's best moments, all kinds of little content, bite-sized stuff like that, all on my TikTok, so please do head over and have a look. But in terms of the review of 2021 on my YouTube, that is now done. I really hope you enjoyed it, if you made it this far. I'm glad, and please do like and subscribe as usual. You know how much it helps, and comment below your thoughts on what happened in Abu Dhabi and what you think is going to happen next season. Who do you think is going to win? Verstappen or Hamilton? Will Leclerc be in the fight next year? Who knows? It's up in the air, so comment below what you think is going to happen in 2022.